Follow us on social media, Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube. Don't forget to like. F1, Formula One. I just got back from watching it on IMAX, which, let me say, was quite the experience. If you have a chance, I highly recommend watching this movie in a theater on the biggest screen possible. It'll have you driving home feeling like you're on a racetrack. But in all seriousness, this is a great film. It kind of reminds me of The Replacements with Keanu Reeves, where you have this character who was, if you know the line, you're not even a has-been, you're a never was. We get almost a very similar line delivery based on that idea. It's got great pacing, no pun intended, pacing for a racing film. Obviously, this is primarily an Apple project, or at least it will be an Apple exclusive film. Once it's out of theaters, you can only watch it on Apple TV. So there is definitely some Apple product placement there, like the AirPods Max. It's not overt though, it's like subtle. So it's not like, I don't know if you're one of those people who, if you see product placement in a film and it bugs you, it's extremely subtle in this film. You might not even notice it, to be honest. Now, they do this thing a few times throughout the film with drone tracking shots. They're just very visually beautiful transitions into a scene where someone's driving a car. I would say if you've seen Ford, what's that other biopic with Matt Damon and Christian Bale? I think it's like Ford versus Ferrari or something like that. I think a lot of the racing scenes in that film were executed a lot stronger. However, the racing scenes in F1 have the same amount of stakes. They're very engaging. And for a packed theater, which I'm actually kind of surprised. I guess it's Brad Pitt, so, people are going to see Brad Pitt. But also, too, because it's a film that's going to be on Apple TV. I don't know how much people use Apple TV. Like, what's the subscription rate versus a thing like Netflix? It's got to be nowhere near close. So I don't know if people are just going to watch it because it is a thing that they won't have access to, or if people are just going because they want to see Brad Pitt. Either way, though, the theater was pretty packed. And everyone has having a good time. There's like a lot of the laughs were shared at the same time. It just felt like there was a vibe in the theater, and the vibe was F1. Okay, I'm going to break down the general plot of the film without too many spoilers. Pretty much no spoilers at all. I'm just going to talk about the relationship and the chemistry between the characters, and I'm just going to kind of set up a little bit of their story arcs without spoiling the story after this 10-second commercial break. So you got 10 seconds if you don't want to know anything about the film, but it won't be any spoilers. The Stars and Stripes Freedom Deck ships exclusively in the United States. Available on eBay and Etsy, link in the description below. So the film begins at a 24-hour race that takes place at Daytona. It's the midnight shift, and we are introduced to our character, Sonny Hayes, in this fireworks spectacle and a beautifully shot race. Sonny Hayes, which is played by Brad Pitt, is kind of like the Shane Falco from The Replacements. He's this kind of washed up race car driver. He's more like a freelance race car driver. He's got this bad boy reputation. His history is what makes him a wild card in the race industry. He was famous in the 90s until he got caught up in an accident, and from there his reputation became that of a gambler and a man with many ex-wives. But Sonny Hayes' main motive is he just wants to do what he does best, and that's racing. He even has this couple of character traits that I like, where he draws a card before a race, and he doesn't look at the card, he just stuffs it in his pocket. It's kind of like a good luck charm. So he'll draw a deck of cards, and then he'll just shuffle and pick out a random card, stuff it in his pocket, and that's kind of like his good luck charm. And another thing too is if he wins a big race, he never touches the trophy. It's kind of symbolizes that he doesn't race for the accolades. He races because it is a primal desire of his. It's in his blood. He just does it because he's good at it. He's not concerned with the fame or the wealth. He's concerned with the passion. Anyways, he has a former rival whose name is Ruben, and they've raced together and against each other. At least that's kind of how they set up the story, or their history. So this is decades ago now, or that was decades ago before his accident. But ever since he's returned as this freelance driver, obviously word gets around when you return to an industry. Ruben, whose focus is F1, Formula One, he has a team called Apex GP. However, they are a team that's not respected. They're kind of like the laughingstock of the Formula One world. So he needs a driver. So he goes to his old opponent, his old rival, Sonny Hayes. And that's basically the meat of the story. This is where everything goes. Ruben is having a conflict with the board of his company, and his board is going to take away his company from him if they cannot win a race. So the plot of the story is that Sonny Hayes, Brad Pitt, is recruited by Ruben to save his team and help them win the Formula One race. So Brad Pitt agrees. under some very funny conditions. And then we meet the rest of the team and our second driver, whose name is Joshua Pierce. He's the rookie and he wants to be a rising star. And it kind of creates this relationship arc between Sonny and Joshua. It starts out kind of as a rivalry and then becomes kind of a mentor and student relationship. They learn a lot from each other, more so Joshua learning from Sonny because Sonny is the veteran, but they share character moments to show that they're growing together as a team, especially through public image, their public personas to the F1 world, the F1 fan base. And because Joshua's younger, he's kind of like into social media and all that stuff. And they don't really hit you over the head with the social media. It's very subtle, so it's not annoying. But he learns from Sonny that this career as an athlete, as a race car driving athlete, because there is like an athletic thing to it, you have to focus on being a great athlete and not concern yourself with being everyone's favorite person on Instagram or whatever. And then there's team dynamics too. When we meet the team, there's a balance of trust and taking risks. We have our two drivers, one who's a good driver, the rookie, and then we have one who is experienced, Sonny, who is a strategic driver, whose strategy at first seems like chaos, seems like he's just a madman, but there's a method to the madness. And that's pretty much, in a nutshell, without spoiling the story, the dynamics of the characters, the relationship between the characters in F1. One thing that drives me crazy though is we never see the card that Sonny pulls. We never get to see the good luck charm. That's one thing that kind of drove me crazy. But other than that though, this film was great. It's probably going to be on one of my best films of the year. I had a great time with it. And I think even if you're not a person who's into race cars and all that, because I'm not really a fan of race, F1, Formula One, whatever racing stuff, but the story is just too good. It's just such a good story about like the replacements, someone who is seen as a never was, who's given a second opportunity to become a has-been, to have a moment of glory, to do what they do best because it's what they love to do. Anyways, I hope you guys check it out in theaters. Let me know what you think. Support American craftsmanship when you buy the Stars and Stripes Freedom Deck. From coast to coast, only available in the USA. Available from La Casa Loca on eBay and Etsy. Follow us on Twitter at Ghettoplex_MP4, on Instagram at Ghettoplex.mp4, and subscribe to us on YouTube at Ghettoplex.